giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! Come on in. Well, yesterday was eventful, huh? You just knew, man. You just knew that this outcome would happen. You just knew that this billionaire would once again steal the headlines at the trade deadline. Oh, we're going to talk about it. We are going to break down every little thing of the Jonathan Mingo to the Cowboys trade from the rooter to the tutor. I got you covered. Trust and believe me. Nobody's going to break it down like your boy is finna break it down. So make sure y'all stick around for that. Plus, in the roundup, buried underneath this trade yesterday, there was some moves the Cowboys made outside of trading for Jonathan Mingo. What's good with you, though, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
How is everyone doing on this wonderful Wednesday after a very eventful trade deadline across the National Football League? I love when it's action like this at the deadline. Not necessarily Cowboys, just in general, excuse me. And here's why. I watched the NBA, right? The NBA trade deadline is so active. It's always active. I think it's the best trade deadline in sports. And of late, over the years, the NFL has started to kind of adopt the same type of trade activity. And I think it's because teams are figuring out creative ways to get around these contracts. Teams are trading away players and they're keeping extra monies so that said team can get them more rental moves. Not as many long-term type of deals, but I love the action. There was a lot of action yesterday. You saw the Detroit Lions go out and get a guy. You saw the Commanders go out and get a guy. And then, over the last few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, you saw competing teams go out and trade for other players. And we'll break all those things down. But the Cowboys said, not so fast. Not so fast. I want to be a part of this thing. And this was Jerry Jones' quote on the radio. They asked him, are you buyers or sellers? He said, we ain't selling. My man said, we are buyers. And it's so much, so many layers to this thing. And we're going to hit every single one of these layers. And of course, I know you guys got a lot to say about it. So you can call in 351-999-3787 and we'll talk about it as well. But before we do that, let's hit this roundup. We have some house cleaning to do, and then we're going to break this whole thing down. All right, let's do it.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It's time!
Time?
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you!
Well, as all of the trades were going down, buried underneath that was the Cowboys making some moves, some cuts from players that they traded for. These things write themselves. But the Cowboys cut cornerback Andrew Booth and defensive tackle Jordan Phillips. I think both of these things you saw coming, right? I have no idea why they kept Jordan Phillips around as long as they did. They should have just cut him right away. Or maybe you try to fleece somebody, but that doesn't happen in Dallas. It just made no sense to keep this man around. But I bet you he was like, okay, whatever. You're continuing to pay me, put me on IR. I don't have to risk my body. And whenever you do cut me, I go back to the team, and it looks like he's going back to Buffalo, likely on a vet minimum deal with the competing team. This move of trading for Jordan Phillips probably falls in the same light of Everson Griffin, in the same light of Dontario Poe, and Poe never played again. It looks like Phillips is going to play, but Griffin just didn't work here, didn't fit here. Phillips was actually bad here, and he moves on to Detroit, I think it was, or back to Minnesota, one of the two, and he actually was good. I don't know if Phillips is going to be that way, but Phillips is ready to get up out of here. I don't know why they kept him around. Whatever, Cowboys. Andrew Booth, you knew it was a wrap when they decided to call up Josh Butler, and Andrew Booth was not active. That was it. There was no reason to keep him around. Kalen Carson was back. Diggs is playing. Maybe he shouldn't be. You'll get Deron Bland back here soon. They like Butler and the other kid on the practice squad a lot better. So it was just no need to keep Andrew Booth around. Now, Booth was a player-for-player trade swap. You sent out Nahshon Wright. You got back Andrew Booth. I'd argue, I have no idea what Nahshon Wright's doing over there, but I'd argue even as bad or uneventful as Nahshon Wright was, you lost that one. Because at least Nahshon Wright was a core special teams guy. And not saying Nahshon Wright was anything special when he got in the game, but you didn't see him get baptized as many times as Andrew Booth did. So, and Jordan Phillips, he was a conditional pick. Jordan Phillips had to play at least 2 games to give up that 2026 6th-round pick, and he did. So you lose out on that 2026 6th-round pick, and you only got 2 games out of Jordan Phillips. Again, that's a late day 3 pick, 2 drafts from now. I'm not going to get up in arms about it, but it is what it is. It's a wasted pick. So, again, that trade market for the Cowboys continues to be very evasive for Dallas. And we're going to break it down a lot more. A whole lot more. So there you go. Andrew Booth out. Jordan Phillips out. And guess who's in? Jonathan Mingo. Let's get right into it. Got a lot to say about this. So, yesterday, Jerry goes on the radio. Buzz is starting to circulate around the Star that the Cowboys are going to be active. And then Jerry he basically says, we are going to be active. We're not going to be buyers. We're not going to be sellers. We're going to be buyers. And the move is for a wide receiver. And Jerry knew this, but he probably had to wait until it went through officially. Soon as he hangs up the phone. Breaking news. And it's hilarious because a lot of people were speculating who this receiver was. And Cowboy fans know how the Cowboys move. They weren't going to go out and get a D-Hop type because they like to try to get a young guy that another team doesn't like anymore on the rookie deal or with extra years. And so people were thinking, who could this be? Who could this be? Traylon Burks? Well, Burks was on IR, so it couldn't have been him. And then you get the Cowboys are trading for wide receiver Jonathan Mingo, former Ole Miss wide receiver at the time of the Carolina Panthers. So you say, okay, this is up their alley, right? This makes sense of who they want. Then you go look at the compensation. And they're giving up a 2025 4th-round pick. I have to laugh because we just went through a draft of not having a 4th-round pick, and Cowboy fans and analysts saying, why the hell are you giving up a 4th-round pick for a 3rd-string quarterback that is likely not going to see the light of day and is not going to stick around unless there's an injury in regards to playing. And he's going to play now for sure. We'll get into that tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about, if you guys will talk a little bit about it, but we're going to break that game down tomorrow in that situation. But anyway, so they trade another 4th-round pick for a guy that the team doesn't want and is a highly drafted pick in Jonathan Mingo. Now, a 4th-round pick isn't a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd. But it also isn't just some cheap throwaway pick either, especially for a team that only relies on the draft. But again, we'll get into that a little bit more. Let me just first say this about Jonathan Mingo, okay? Because he didn't ask for this. Jonathan Mingo did not ask to be brought into this mess of an organization. But this is a very young kid still, right? A raw prospect still who has some useful skills. He's not a finished product. Okay. So when you look at his production in Carolina, you kind of have to look at that and not judge it as, you have to look at it as a piece of the pie, right? You can't look at it as the whole pie because it's not. Okay. And I think the angst of Cowboys Nation isn't really, it's less to do about the player. He's part of this, like, you know, who he is as a player, some of his production, his film, and his future outlook is a part of it. But I think it's more. I think there are many more layers to this, and I'm going to discuss it. And I think those layers are worth discussing, and I don't think they are being discussed a lot. I think you have people just attacking this one way or another. No, you have to look at this whole entire picture and look at why some fans are ignoring some of the other things, and you know how a lot of fans are. They'll carry the water for the front office. They don't really care. Then you got other fans that anything the front office does it's bad. I don't think this is directly in the middle. I do think there's more nuance to this where you can judge this a little more harshly, but I don't think it's so far on that side. It damn sure ain't so far on the other side. There's nothing about this thing that you say is just amazing, but you have to discuss it all. So first, let's get to know Jonathan Mingo. Who is he? He's a former second-round pick out of Ole Miss, who was a late bloomer. I remember me and Foots and many other people had on the show at the time studying Mingo. He really didn't break out until his last year at Ole Miss. He had 800 plus yards, and 5 touchdowns. Before that, not a whole lot to go off of, man. He was a tough prospect to study because he wasn't really productive. He didn't have a 400-yard season prior to that. So 3 straight years under 400 yards, and then he broke out, and I use that loosely, for 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. But he showed some of that, you know, raw boom or bust ability that put him on the radar for some teams on day 2. Some other teams, not so much. But he kind of gave you that boom or bust athlete, right? Size, speed, weight, contested catch guy. So Carolina takes a flyer on him in the second round, and he ends up playing 24 games over there, 19 starts. His rookie year, he was a lot more active in getting involved, right? But Carolina moves on from the coach, moves on from the management, and eventually Mingo gets passed up by rookie Xavier Leggett, undrafted rookie Jalen Coker, and 2017 7th round pick David Moore. Mind you, this is with Adam Thielen, who was out, and this is with Deontay Johnson being traded. So it became very clear that the new management and the coaching did not see Mingo as a piece worth playing, worth keeping around for the future, given they ain't got no ties to him, right? There's no sponsor in this building. I didn't draft you. You don't necessarily fit what I like to do. They tried to. They really did try to fit Mingo in what Canales wanted to do on offense, but it just didn't work. But see, this is where the Cowboys love to jump on these opportunities, and I'll explain on that later. So what's the scouting report on Jonathan Mingo? And I'm gonna try to keep it as much in the NFL because he's been in the NFL for a season and a half now, but you kind of have to go back to some of his college days. He's that big physical wide receiver in stature, and he kind of played that way to it in college as a contested catch guy. he really hasn't been that same contested catch guy in the pros. He's only caught 4 out of 16 contested catch opportunities. That's not great. 0 for 5 this season. But he does fit that mold where you're 6'2", right? 220. You should be able to deal with cornerbacks running through you. And there are some plays where that happens. But again, out of 16 opportunities, and maybe probably more like 12 legitimate opportunities, he's only caught 4 of those so far. But he still is a guy that I think you want to, if you're going to throw the ball up to 50-50 type situations, that's the guy to do it with, right? I think he's a guy, though, that you want to get on the move. This is a dude that has straight line speed, not stop-start ability. I don't think he's that quick, twitchy type of wide receiver. He's not the route running guy. He's not a comebacks, hooks, stop routes. They don't really utilize his skill set, in my opinion. At least not his skill set best. And I get that wide receivers have to run those routes. I get that. But that's really not what he does best. And in the pros, when they try to get him the ball underneath, in those situations, he doesn't really get much after the catch. And when you go look at how the Panthers run their offense, this is, again, I think it's David Canales. I might be saying that wrong. But they try to use him and getting him the ball right now and use that yak ability. The problem is the way they were getting it to him doesn't really fit him. He's not the throw it to you right now and you making a bunch of guys miss with how twitchy you are, with how quick you are. He's a guy that you got to get the momentum going. Get him moving. Get him down the field, deep posts, over routes, crosser routes. That's really, in my opinion, the best way to utilize a Jonathan Mingo. Crossers, overs, screens, getting them moving. Here's the problem, Cowboys Nation. Let me read this to you here. The Dallas Cowboys right now run the second most slants in the league, the 4th most comeback routes in the league, and the 5th most hitch routes. Slants, comebacks, hitches. That ain't the best way to use this guy. I don't think that's the best. Slants, maybe fine. Big physical guy, catch it, deal with the cornerback running through you, or tight. I'm sorry, a linebacker or a safety maybe coming down to hit you. Sure, better if you can get him past that first window, and now he keeps going. But comebacks, hitches, being top 5, top 2 in those, that's not what he does best. Okay, if that's what you're going to trade this guy for and use, you can do that with the guys that you have. But what about the crossing routes, guy? What about the screens? The Cowboys are 29th in crossing route rate, 17th in screen rate. They quite literally do the exact opposite of what he's best at. Now, will that change? Maybe. But Scott, is there like a precedent for this kind of trade scenario, since a lot of people are upset about the compensation? Because let's make no mistake about it. The 4th round pick is an overpay. It's a massive overpay. Anybody trying to tell you otherwise is bonkers. They're wrong. I get it. It's an opinion. I don't like to tell you that somebody's opinion is wrong, but there's no way you can look at the past. You can look at what's happening now across the league. You can look at who this player is and say, yeah, the 4th round pick is great value because we viewed him as a 2nd round guy 2 years ago, whatever. That's not enough. But is there a precedent? Is there a similar trade situation that has happened before? Yes, there is. And these are recent. These aren't 5, 10, 20 years ago. These are a couple years ago. Laviska Shenault. You guys remember Laviska Shenault? 2nd round pick from the Jaguars. He had 2 years left on his rookie deal. Shenault in his first 2 seasons had 1,200 yards and 5 touchdowns. He showed a ton of promise. He was traded in 2022 by the Jaguars for a 7th round pick and the following year's 6th round pick. A player with 1,200 yards and 5 tutties. Okay. Denzel Mims, who won a whole lot of production over there in New York, had 1 year left on his rookie deal. He was traded in 2023 for a conditional 2025 6th round. They traded 2 years later, a pick from 2 years later. Conditional 6th round pick. We don't even know if that even hit. Probably not. He was traded to the Lions. The Lions probably were able to keep that 6th round pick. The Cowboys traded a current year's 4th round pick, potentially a top of the 4th round pick, given how things are happening right now, for Denzel Mims. So when people are looking at this and saying, hey man, this is kind of interesting and I'm being nice here, this is an overpay, they're not wrong. Because there is precedent to these type of picks. Because what a lot of people try to do, oh well, Sky, he's cheap. He's on the rookie deal. He has the upside, et cetera, et cetera. Sure. It's not the first time somebody traded for this type of player. And I've heard this before. The Cowboys have done this before. They've tried to take advantage of another team that had a player who was young enough, but they flamed out with that team. Dallas loves to try to take advantage of that. Let's take a look at this. Over the last decade, the Cowboys have traded for 10 players at the time that were 25 and under. And only one of them has stuck around. One. They like to try to cheat the system, but it has not worked for them. Again, over the last decade, 10 players were traded 25 and under, right? Hey, he's cheap. He's young. But only one of them have stuck around. Now, again, that's not to say stop doing these things, but it goes to show you that this current regime just hasn't been good at doing this. Now, if you look here, 7 of the 10 picks are former 1st or 2nd round picks. So, again, the strategy, I get what they're trying to do. Hey, we like this guy on our draft board. This guy was his draft pedigree is very high. We can get him for cheap. And then we can make something out of him. But how many times has that happened? One. So now you got to stop and you got to think, if they have been doing this for 10 years and it has not really worked, it begs the question, what other regime over a 10-year span would still be allowed to make these kind of moves 10 years later? Now, it's not like Noah and Booth, Ben Wickery, and even though he's a former 5th pick, Jihad Ward, these guys cost you 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks. Trey Lance did. But this is their MO. He's a 2nd round pick. He's a 1st round pick. He's flaming out, not working, not good where he's at. Let's go try to make him good here. It hasn't worked. Again, doesn't mean you stop, but it hasn't worked for this regime. Maybe you try something different. Finally, why did it take all offseason, the start of the season, an injury to Brandon Cooks, a 3-5 start, your role receivers falling and tripping over themselves, to say, maybe we could use another guy? You would have thought once Brandon Cooks went down, that would have start blinking, right? If you legitimately wanted to salvage a season or help your quarterback or help Mike McCarthy or help the offense, right there, when Brandon Cooks goes out, you're coming off of two straight, or that was the start of a 2-game winning streak. You're what were they, Cowboys Nation? 3-2 at the time. You're 3-2. Why not then go make said move, and not just said move to get Denzel Mims? Because that's again poor, in my opinion, poor value, point blank. Unless Denzel Mims turns out to be you're an amazing wide receiver 2 for you. Even if he's a wide receiver 3, it makes no sense because you got a bunch of them. And when you go look at the landscape of the league and what these guys are going for, I'm really over the excuse of fans saying, well, you got to look at the age and the contract of these other guys. Do you really want to? Because if you really want to, you don't be lazy. Don't be lazy and say, well, DeAndre Hopkins' contract and age. Well, Mark Cooper's contract and age. Devontae Adams' contract and age. Josh Uche's or whatever contract and age. Zadarius Smith contract and age. Well, what about Khalil Herbert, by the way, who went for a 7th-round pick? But that's a whole different discussion. Let's talk about those guys. Because people seem to think when acquiring Hop, Coop, or Adams or Smith or Uch, that Uch, how do you say his name? That you're taking on these massive deals. You're not. Number one, all of those receivers and Mims, stop it. Stop it. I don't care if you were taking on those contracts. It's clear you would take those dudes over Mims, or not Mims, I'm sorry, over Mingo. Stop it. But let's investigate it. DeAndre Hopkins is costing the Chiefs $4 million, $4.8 million this year. Is that some ridiculous contract? No. In fact, the Chiefs got the Titans to take back some of the money. So if you really wanted to improve your team in 2024, you would have wanted to try to do that. Well, Sky, he's washed. He's old. His contract. All right. We'll let you have it. Be lazy. We have to do a Amari Cooper thing. Amari Cooper was never coming back. But if you wanted to do the Amari Cooper, he's costed the Bills about $800,000. And he's a free agent after the year. If you're really trying to win, you don't really care about that. But we don't got to Cooper. Devontae Adams. Oh, well, Sky. He's owed so much money. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's costing the Jets, what, like $5-6 million, something like that? And he has no more guaranteed money. They can do multiple things with him. If they love him, they can keep him around, extend him, and his cap hit is now reduced massively. If they don't want to keep him, they can move on from him and save $36 million on their cap. I can get Adams for $5 million. I can get Hopkins for $5 million. I can get Coop for $800,000. For what? 5th-round picks and 3rd-round picks and 4th-round picks? Don't come to me and talk about age and contract if you're not going to truly deep dive into those guys. They 100% help you more than Mingo. They're way better than Jonathan Mingo. Point blank, period. And this is no knock on Mingo because he didn't ask for this. What about Zadarius Smith? Zadarius Smith is getting paid pennies to go play for the Detroit Lions. You could have used that help. Got traded for 2026 6th-round pick. Is it Uch, whatever? The pass rusher from the Patriots got traded for a 2026 6th-round pick. I believe. He's only 26 years old. Well, Sky, you can't blame Jerry on this one. You got to blame Will and them. Y'all know how I feel. Look, Will McClay can get some of this smoke for the drafts and everything too, and being part of this. But let me just paint the picture of how this probably went. Jerry Jones, seeing how things are going with the team, Cowboys quarterback gets injured, the morale's at an all-time low. It's so much negativity surrounding the team, rightfully so. He sees this wide receiving core, I guess finally, just isn't it outside of CeeDee Lamb, especially with Brandon Cooks being out. That's a big one, which I don't know why you don't address it when Cooks went down, but neither here nor there. And he says, hey, Steven, come here. I need you to go make a move. For who, Jerry? Go get a receiver. They love Trevor. Go get a receiver. Okay. And you know what Steven did, right? He went to his Uber Eats driver. And this is no disrespect to Will McClay. Will McClay is the Uber Eats driver when it comes to pro personnel acquisitions. Draft boards and scouting, totally different. Pro personnel acquisitions, he's the Uber Eats driver. Will McClay said, what you want me to get you at the grocery store, man? Or what you want me to shop for? Steven said, I need a receiver. I bet. I need a young receiver. Okay. I need preferably a receiver still on his rookie deal. If we can have a couple years of control, I'd like that. All right, cool. Is that it? Yeah. Oh, well, make sure it's from a team that probably doesn't like this guy anymore. It's not going to cost us much. And let's see what we got. All right, cool. Will McClay brings back a list of guys. Mingo was probably a guy they liked a couple years ago. I don't know if they liked him in the second round or not, but likely in a top 100 pick. Steven takes that to Jerry. Steven says, hey man, I got this Jonathan Mingo kid that fits the criteria we're looking at. Bingo nights are on Saturday, Steve. Mingo. Yeah, sure. So Will gives it the okay. This is the guy. This is okay. Steven goes to Jerry. Jerry don't know who this man is. Okay, cool. Now the negotiations for the player get turned back over to Jerry and Steven. And we know how that goes. So before you come here and you say, well, he's young, Sky. He's got 2 years left on his deal, Sky. 4th round pick is nothing. It's not about that. It's that you continually get reamed in these situations where there's evidence that you don't have to do that. Well, it's not about 2024. That's even worse. You can't sell me this is about 2025 and 2026. Let me paint this picture for you. Jonathan Mingo, drafted in the 2nd round by the Carolina Panthers by one regime. The very next year, a new regime said, nah. I'm sorry, they said, where you at? Did I take my, there we go.
Nah.
They said, nah. We don't like him. We tried to get him the ball underneath and do the things I like to do in my offense. Didn't work. They were likely going to cut this man in the offseason or offload him for a significantly less amount. Jay Slater reached out to general managers and they all essentially laughed. Like, oh, this is a massive overpay, but this is what this player brings, XYZ, raw prospect, size, height, weight, speed, this and that. But if it's not about 2024, then wait till 2025. Well, Scott, they got 2 years of control. You could have had 2 years of control after the season. Maybe just draft a receiver, then you got 4 or 5 years of control. Or just flat out trade for a better player. So you really can't sell me the next year. And here's the biggest part of it. Remember how I said a new regime came in and said, nah? Mike McCarthy is likely on the outs. There could potentially and probably should be a new head coach coming into this team, a new offensive coordinator that may look at Jonathan Mingo and say,
Nah.
he don't fit. If he doesn't fit what the new coach wants and they move off of him or he doesn't play, you just wasted a 4th round pick. Well, Sky, Jerry Jones And Steven said, no. No matter who the coach is, he's going to play. And therein lies the problem. Now you're going to force this poor kid on a coach who may not even want him in the same light that you're doing currently and have done for decades. Where's the win in this? Unless Jonathan Mingo, who I hope like hell, by the way, this isn't about this kid. I like this kid. I hope he balls the hell out. This is about the incompetence of your organization. But God forbid, another coach comes in here and says, I have no use for him. He doesn't fit what we do. And then Jerry and Steven says, well, you're going to have to make him fit. Oh, God. That's why I look at the move and say, like, what are you doing? You know? Like, what are you doing? This isn't just a black and white. Oh, well, just, we traded for him. It's only a fourth. Let's see if we go out there. Sure. Of course, we got to wait and see what he does. We always have to wait and see what players do. But that doesn't mean you cannot analyze the how, analyze the nuances into the trade. And when you break that thing down and you really look at it, it is head scratching. It makes you say, what are you? And I've even brought up the whole, you should have been sellers or buyers thing, right? You should have been sellers, not buyers. That's another discussion. But clearly, and let's talk about for a quick second. If they believe this season is still salvageable, which goes against popular belief. Most people believe the season's over. This trade is for 2025, 2026. I just gave you the reason why that's still dumb. But if they believe this season is still salvageable with half your defense out, with the quarterback on IR, with the poor scheme, poor offensive line, poor run game, poor coaching, everything. If that's the case, why not make the move for a better player earlier?
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Let me reiterate. This is much less to do about Jonathan Mingo. Hope this kid comes here and balls the hell out. But if you don't have the goal to call out the incompetence of this front office in a move like this, then that's fine. I will. I'll be the bad guy. I'll deep dive into why your general manager, president, owner, right-hand man are bungling these type of situations. Now, with that said, I don't know when we'll see Jonathan Mingo. Maybe it's next week. Who knows? I don't know the type of offense he was in at Ole Miss, but I do know that it's taken some young receivers some time here in Dallas to grasp this specific offense. Not saying it's overly complicated, but it's not like these young guys are running in here and taking off, right? So I don't think they'll see him this week. Maybe they'll throw him in red zone, maybe give some jump ball opportunities, maybe. We haven't really seen a whole lot of those type of jump ball opportunities from him in general. He's only run 7% of his routes downfield. A lot of what's happening in, at least this year, in Carolina is underneath. The Cowboys run some routes downfield. Hopefully he's a guy that gets a shot in some of these jump ball situations. You want to get Jonathan Mingo on this field sooner rather than later. If he doesn't play this week, whatever, but you need to get him out there next week. And that begs the question, how fast can he pick things up? How fast can he get in the rhythm with the backup? And then if Dak does come back, now he has to get in the rhythm with Dak. It's not just so cut and dry. But I hope like hell he goes in there and he goes off. The Cowboys need that to happen. Last thing on this, and then I'll talk to you guys on the horn. I pray that giving up a quasi-decent pick does not impact the Cowboys from drafting a receiver early. And you can say, well, Sky, that'll never happen. You can never say never with this front office. It's the same team that during the draft signed Zeke and said, we felt we didn't need to draft a running back because Ezekiel Elliott was ready to go, and we believe he's still a starting running back. The same team that did not draft a gang of these backs that were out there to get drafted said we ain't draft one because the guy that we just signed. Is it out the realm of possibility that they say, we don't need to draft a receiver earlier because we got this kid at home? I don't think so. But I hope that's not the case. I hope they still look at this receiving room and say, okay, this is a priority. This is a top pick type of priority. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope. I gotta live on a hope creed. They don't say, we gave up a fourth. We're not going to spend a first, second, or third. Well, Sky, they can get that back. They got the comp picks and they got the, okay, I mean, sure. Right now, they don't have a fourth. If the Cowboys finish in the top 10, top 12, it's going to take some capital to get back into that area, right? I don't think it's going to be, I'll give you 2 fifths, 2 compensatory 5th round picks to pick 10th, 9th, 8th, 5th in the 4th round. That ain't going to be it. Now you'll get back at the bottom of the 4th, the compensatory area of the 4th. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm doing the trade chart thing right now. But you didn't even have to do that. So there's my spiel on this. Welcome to Dallas, Jonathan Mingo. I think the angst that most fans have, or at least I have with this, is not to do with you. Sunday, whenever you get out there, I'm rooting like hell for you to go for the rest of the season. You have a 1,200 yards and 10 tutties, bro. Go do your damn thing, man. Go do your thing. Keep in mind, if he does do his thing over the next 2 years, you're going to have to pay him. And do you think that's happening? I digress. All right, man. Let's wrap to a couple of y'all on the horns and in the chat. I hope I was able to attack every angle of this thing as detailed as possible and give both sides of this conversation some air. I hope I was able to do that. 603.
Scott.
What it is, what
it's
it
Roy, man. Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, look. I in your chat, man, a couple of days ago, I said in your chat that you needed a system and not a coordinator. Now, they had this philosophy. We like our guys. We like young guys. So why not go in the college ranks and get Kirby Smart or Saban, somebody who has won championships, that has a system of winning in place or knows how to put a system together to win, and Jerry get on his 1888 glory hole phone burner account and bring in a college coach, because Steven is really working against Jerry. He is really not helping Jerry do what he wants to do. He's not. He's trying to build it for himself. And him and Will McClay, I mean, we failed in so many draft choices, man. So many draft choices.
Last couple drafts are looking real funny.
And Will McClay is looking really, really funny to me. He's looking really funny to me. But anyway, we need.
So your question is,
if you look at Andy Reid,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Andy Reid has a system. Andy Reid has a system.
Sure.
Belichick had a system, and I'm interested in Belichick, but it depends on.
I think what
coaches he brings.
I think you're using the wrong word, because I think now that you called in and you talked about it, you know what you're actually trying to say to me. In my opinion, you're looking for a coach with culture, not system.
Yeah.
You're looking for culture. Nick Saban has culture. Andy Reid brings a culture. Bill brings a culture. I'm not. I know who Kirby Smart is. I follow him in college, but I'm not as hip to the Kirby Smarts of the world, the Sarkisians and those guys. I'm not as hip. But it sounds like you're looking for a culture change. I'm not going to disagree with that at all, Roy. I mean, I would love to bring in a guy that can change the culture here. You say why? Why don't they? Because Jerry Jones doesn't want to give up the culture.
Scott, it's not Jerry. It's Steven. Steven is not willing to give up that power, man.
Okay, let me say this. Okay.
Steven.
What up? Jerry Jones and Steven Jones.
Steven,
let me say this.
It out, man.
Okay, let me do this. The Joneses. Because it doesn't matter who you point to. Jerry, Steven, they both are an issue. You can't eliminate Jerry from this because Jerry Jones quite literally said, I don't got to go to my head coach to make a trade with a 4th round pick for a 3rd string quarterback. So yes, he's part of this problem. Jerry Jones quite literally came out and said, I want to get everyone on the media to talk about my team, good or bad. I'm going to do things to rile things up. So Jerry is a part of this. So the Joneses, they're never going to bring in a guy that's going to change the culture wholeheartedly because they are the culture and they will never give up that power. And until they do, you're going to have the same cultural issues that a coach and the players are going to have to overcome.
Well, Steven is working against Jerry. He's the right-hand man, like you said. He's the right-hand man to Jerry that's working against him, and Jerry don't even see it because we could have been won a Super Bowl, man. We could have been won Super Bowls.
Sure.
It's Steven. Steven ain't going to give up that power, man. He's not going to be in the background for a Saban or Belichick or anybody that knows really what they're doing.
I'm not going to let you dissolve Jerry. Neither is Jerry, sir. Here, this is why you can't dissolve him of this. We talked about this the other day. I look, Jerry, when it comes to player personnel, when it comes to drafting and things like that, for the most part, he's just a mouthpiece. He's just the mascot of the Cowboys. But the one area that he is not is the coaching hire. Jerry Jones will not let somebody else have total control over who they allow to bring in to be the CEO of the team. That it will be Jerry sitting in that meeting. He's interviewing that coach. He's letting him know what is going to happen, who is going to be retained, how things are going to be run. And you have to decide if you want to accept that or not. So if Jerry eliminates himself from that and says, well, you know what, I'm going to let, and then says, Steven, you're not the general manager because he really is the general manager. And they let Will McClay just be the general manager. Then I think we can get a real fair assessment on what's going on with Will McClay. Until then, the Joneses run this operation from top to bottom. Who gets hired as a coach, and then who gets brought in player acquisition.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Sky, look, man, I hear what you're saying, and we need a strong coach. I mean, you got bringing in all these young guys, but we're not bringing in a coach that matches that. As far as communication wise, we're not bringing in a coach to match that. So that's where we stand, man. That's really where we're at.
Indeed, Roy.
Yeah, we got a house divided, man. We got a house divided. House divided against self can't stand, man.
We do.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Roy.
Yeah. All right, my man.
Yeah, glad he called in about because yesterday if you guys weren't here or the other day, we were talking about different coaches or whatnot, and a lot of college coaches was being brought up. Willie T was bringing up, I think, who was it? Willie T, Lincoln Riley, Sark got brought up, Kirby Smart. And again, I'm not as familiar with some of these coaches, but he just brought up Saban, those types. If the Kirby Smarts and the Sarks and who's the other one? Lincoln Riley. If those guys are fine with not having to say here, then sure, they probably could be a candidate. But we have to listen to what kind of coach Jerry wants, because he straight up tells you, 1 year it's I want to walk around head coach. I want a coach that has experience, that's done this before, right? He said, I tried the first time thing before, it didn't work. Yeah, but you're stuck with that guy for 10 years. Okay. What is he going to say when eventually this McCarthy thing runs its course? So pay attention to that after the season. He's not going to, unless this thing goes way levels, he's probably not going to fire McCarthy because that should have been done a long time ago if that was going to be the case. So probably let this ride out. After the season, they'll say, man, fine man McCarthy is. I love this. I love that. And they're just going our separate ways. And they'll ask Jerry, well, what kind of coach are you looking for? And Jerry's not going to hide it. I'm looking for a walk-around head coach. I'm looking for an offensive guy or a defense. He'll let you know. So we got to pay attention to that. Now, there is the caveat. Aaron D just said it right there that we had this. My head exploded last year or last week when we talked about this. But McCarthy's coming back. I would lose my shit if Mike McCarthy comes back. How? I just don't get how you. I don't know how you do it. Why you do it? But obviously, I can't completely rule that out. Right? That is a possibility. Just the same way it was when Jason Garrett, his contract was running out. That was a possibility. But boy, I don't want to go back down that hole, man. Oh, I meant to get JR. Hold on, because JR was waiting. I'll be back with you, 843. Is this JR I got on the horn today? Sometimes I don't be knowing now.
Man, look.
This JR, two partners. What's up with you, JR?
Man, what's good, Scott? Hold on. Let me apologize, you know what I'm saying, for yesterday.
You had to work on that thing, brother.
Look, hold on. First off, it was a joke.
I know it was a joke. I know.
You know what I'm saying? You know, JR does not endorse either political candidate on either side, okay? You know what I'm saying? Only thing I can say is Jerry Jones got a friend in the White House now.
You got one in the White House.
Get us some Super Bowl.
In the big house.
He might be able to get us some Super Bowl now.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Jerry, hold on. Like, here's the thing y'all got to understand. Jerry Jones got the most money everywhere he goes. Who got more money than Jerry in any room he sit in?
Shit. Khan, I think the dude in Jacksonville, I think he got that Saudi money, brother.
Hey, well look, he the only one. My wife, if I put $20 in my wife's gas tank, she can't tell me which button to push on the gas pump, and that's just $20. Jerry Jones talking about millions. And a lot of them. You think you finna tell me? If it was me, I'd be. Look, hold on. Dan. Okay, you the doctor? No, I'm the doctor. Okay, I'll write your check. I'm gonna tell you how long he got. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta understand. And this is why we love Jerry Jones. We love him and we love to hate him, but God dog is Jerry because Jerry understands it's my money, and if I'm gonna put this up, it's gonna be because it went my way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's the ego. Yeah, he somebody I think it was Toxic said, "There's no doubt in my mind he would rather lose his way than win someone else's."
Hey, and you can't argue with that. Because, I mean, he writing the check. You know what I'm saying? You know, and Jerry kind of remind me, like Jerry, the whole administration staff, you know, you ever met that one dude, you had that one friend, you know what I'm saying? He, you know, doing all right in life, you know what I'm talking about? He was all right in high school and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? And he double back and he go and get the high school cheerleading, you know what I'm saying, prom queen, you know what I'm saying, class president, you know what I'm talking about. But now she got like 3 kids by 3 different baby daddies, and the shape ain't shaping the way it used to shape. And everybody tell him, hey, bro, hey, what you doing? Don't you? That ain't it. He like, bro, this was the homecoming queen. Man, remember she was the cheerleader? And it's like,
what the hell you talking about?
That's not her now. You see what I'm saying? That's how administration is with this, with getting these players and you know what I'm saying, like these draft picks and you know, like it's like, okay, they was that on your board then. But what are they now? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's what we're doing. So we got a dude who just want You know what I'm saying? He just want to go get the homecoming queen from 10 years ago and said, look what I got. And that's what we stuck with.
Indeed, bro. Appreciate you, JR. I'm going to touch on that in a quick second.
Oh, all right, bro. All right.
My boy. Salute. Hey, I don't think it's uncommon for teams to – I know this team does it a lot. We hear about it a bunch, right? When they bring in free agents, when they make trades and things, they'll say, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, they had this guy rated highly on their draft board. Andrew Booth, Igbenogany. I'll bring up the Trey Lance. Amari was obvious one, right? If you go look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4 acquisitions of young players that they've traded for, these are all guys. When you go listen to them, yep, we had them high, we had them here, we had them there, and they've made the deals. Now, again, I'm not going to knock the attempt, but maybe, just maybe, if it's not working over a decade's worth of actually trying, right? 7 out of the 10 acquisitions under 25 in the last 25 and under in the last decade have been former first or second round picks. One of them, Amari Cooper, has hit. Igbenogany played 1 year, gone. Andrew Booth played 4 games, gone. Trey Lance didn't play a lick last year, and now because of injury, he should play. At the very least, packages. And again, we'll get on that tomorrow. But he's going to be gone. Jahai Ward didn't even play us down for the Cowboys. Gone. Christine Michael, if y'all remember the 2025 season, I don't think he made it out of the season. Gone. But I can guarantee you there's not a general manager who would be able to stick around to do it again. Unless that general manager had the ultimate job security. And this one does. $469. Good morning. Oh, let me get you.
All right, no problem. Hey, he reached a little bit, but he trying to make something happen. He trying to appease everybody because they own his row. So he was good in college.
They should spend less time trying to appease people and more time trying to make their team better throughout the season, and not just when people are chirping at them. But that's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have gave up the 4th round because you can find good players in the 4th round. That's how we got our quarterback. That's how we got another player from
Dalton
the 4th round.
Schultz and Jake Ferguson. Yeah. You've probably been more successful in the 4th round than the 2nd round over the last decade. I have to go actually look at the research, but you've probably been better in the 4th than the 2nd, which is crazy.
That's why everybody's mad and they taking shots at him again. Jared just needs to give it up, bro. He needs to just sit down and get somebody that know what they really doing, and then consult with them. Let them do that because he getting too old, man. I know he getting tired. He might not even want to do it. He might be picking people just to be picking.
I almost guarantee you, when they came to him with Jonathan Mingo, he probably thought they said bingo. I'm not even joking. He's an 82-year-old man. There's no that runs the business aspect of the Cowboys. Ain't no way this man know who Jonathan Mingo is.
Right. He just
Domingo
I don't
from the Domingo gang.
I know it's that, but now we taking shots. Now he's still in the news, and I think that's what he likes. I think that's what he likes, the attention. But he thinks he know football. I know you, Jerry Jones. I know you won a Super Bowl in '95 with Barry Switzer and turned it around. When he did that made him just do whatever he wanted to do. After he got rid of Jimmy Johnson and he won the Super Bowl with Barry Switzer, now he thinks he
sure picked the wrong time to turn into a mirror.
But he's just too old to be doing.
I wasn't supposed to hear that.
Making certain moves. You know what I'm saying? So, who you think Trey Lance will play?
I hope y'all didn't hear that. This week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Cooper Rush. I think Cooper Rush can play.
Yeah, Cooper Rush is.
Man, come on.
I hope y'all didn't hear that, bro. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Cooper Rush is a solid backup, man. Cooper Rush gonna get in there and give it his all, man. But I do think that Trey Lance should play. I do think that Trey Lance should play.
I'm just going off the 5 games. I'm just going off the 5 games that he won.
Well, it's tough to look back on those games because you ain't got that team walking through that door, my man. You ain't got that team walking through that door. I think shouts out to was it Bob Strum? He dropped some great stuff about that time frame. The Cowboys had 22 sacks in those 5 starts, at like 10 turnovers or something. Let me go look. I think I still have it up. Hold on. Let me tell you. The defense got 22 sacks in the 5 starts, won the turnover battle in 3 of the 4 wins, and the other win was a 6-sack barrage on Joe Burrow. Also, the Cowboys ran for 642 yards in 5 games, controlled the clock, and Cooper Rush was able to just ride along as a backup should do when you have a top defense and a running game. The Cowboys have one of the worst defenses and worst running games in the league. So it's really tough to go back and look at that point in time. So I'm not doing that when it comes to Rush. What I'm doing is, can he just try to just take care of the ball and hopefully move down the field and they remain balanced for him, because what they can't do is do the whole, hey, we're going to throw the ball 45 times with Cooper Rush. Don't do that.
Right. Just manage the game. No turnovers.
That's what
he. My bad.
No.
He got him and CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb made that one catch when he was falling backwards. Cooper Rush threw that ball.
Yeah, in 2020. Yeah,
he made another Monday night catch off of Cooper Rush too. He can make plays, bro. But I mean, it's Cooper Rush. But
I think he can deliver the ball. I mean, you don't want to have him push the ball too much because he doesn't have a strong arm. But he's not dumb. He's a smart quarterback. He can deliver the ball. He's a decent backup quarterback. There's no doubt about it.
Man, I just
he ain't the
need
savior,
to win.
I mean,
I know we trying to tank, but we need to win just to say something positive for the week. It's just all bad.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. I appreciate the call, though, bro.
Have a blessed week, okay?
You
Hopefully
too,
win, man. Take care.
Facts. Right. Yo, hold on. Y'all got the wrong idea. First of all, there was none of the hanky-panky going on here in the background. Y'all missed the real what really happened. Thank God. Only a couple of y'all caught that. So when I tried to bring up the y'all ever see Hateful Eight? Y'all seen the Hateful Eight, right? And it was it was like the Jody Domingo gang, and I was trying to say the Domingo gang, right? So I hit up the Domingo gang or whatever, the Mingray gang, and it brought up a short from the movie, and right in the short, straight off the bat, she said something about. I'm like, oh, so I scrolled down, and the next the next clip was some, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get up out of here. Y'all probably think I'm on something crazy, but okay, AD's, yes. So you heard what happened there. Just pretend you didn't know. Jesus. It's the Jode Domingray gang, man. She said, you know what I'm saying? She said, but she ain't say it like that. She was her. She hit the her with it. I'm like, oh, Lord, no, man. We can't have that. Not after last night. 945. 945.
Yeah, hello.
You at work. Hey, 945, we got to make it quick, big dog. You at work and I can hear the machinery.
Yeah, I know, man. Shit, I run in a mill, so yeah. Yeah, so look, check this out, man.
That's hard work right there, bro.
Season's over. Yes, sir, it is. Season's over, bro. Season's over. For pride's sake, beat Philly, beat the Giants, beat Washington. As far as all the other games, the hell with it. I will say this.
I feel you, though.
I will say this. The reason why Jerry and Steven don't deal in these draft picks is because they know at the beginning of the previous year that they don't put nothing into the damn season. They don't sign nobody. They don't do nothing. So they know that their season's going to end somewhere in December and in January. So that's what they hold on to. They want to be the spotlight of the draft. They want everybody talking. Who's the Cowboys going to draft at number 1? Who are they going to draft at number 2? They want to be all in front of the damn cameras, and that's the problem.
Yeah, man, it's a tough situation for any coach and players to overcome. You know, yes, I'm hard on McCarthy, and it's not because I think he's going to be that confrontational dude to stand up to Jerry. It's because, okay, you have the job now do everything at your disposal to try to save your damn job, right? And he
Exactly.
just doesn't seem to do that. But it's not like Jerry helped him either, so it's just a total mess, bro.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And, you know, McCarthy's play calling scheme, all them damn hitches and curls, it don't help nothing. But when you got your owner that dictates who's going to be on and off the field, it's hard to win with that alone. But at the same time, at the same time, Mike got to go, man. But none of this is going to change, y'all. Sadly, Jerry will meet the inevitable, and then sadly, Stephen Jones is going to be in charge, and it's never going to change. A Super Bowl will have to be like what you said, which is lightning in a bottle. They just have to overcome, get lucky, basically do what the Eagles did, stack good games on trash teams throughout the season. You hopefully get to play Daniel Jones in the divisional. You hopefully get to play.
Let me say this. I don't even think that's the rest that year's the recipe. I think their actual Super Bowl year is the recipe. They were aggressive in the free agent market. They were aggressive in the trade market. They made moves during the season, before the season. And then what was most impressive about that, when their starting quarterback, who was trending to be the MVP, when he went down, the coach made an adjustment to fit his current skill set of his quarterback, and they went on a crazy run in the playoffs, and they won it. That was kind of a lightning in a bottle situation, but then, 4 years later, they rebuilt the whole damn thing and went right back to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I would rather they take that model, but I get what you're saying.
But it's never gonna happen, y'all. I mean, y'all. I know this team, man. I got Cowboy stuff tattooed on my body. I bled for them boys, but they don't love us back. We all in this toxic relationship with this team, man.
I think that's real.
Hey, big dog. I'm being dead serious.
No,
but I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, man. I know you're trying to get up out of here, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm out of here, dog.
Thanks for the call, man. Let me say this, because I'm still not on the. I get it, y'all. I know everybody's on the tank thing. Personally, I'm not. I want to win all these games. I'm realistic that it ain't gonna happen. It's, that's why I didn't pick them to win this past week and week prior, the 2 weeks actually. But when they lose some of these games, I'm not going to be as moved by it. I know a lot of people have already been there. A lot of people have already been there for years. Cowboys lose, whatever. But I 100% want these dudes to go out there and win. I want definitely the Eagles. Now listen, do I think it's going to happen? Complete honesty right now, and we haven't broken down. We will do that tomorrow. No, I don't expect that to happen now, unless they do some totally different things that they've done. But the Eagles, the Commanders, man, come on, man. If you're not going to win these other games, win those games. I know y'all want them to lose and we get a top whatever pick. You probably ain't got to root for that. You know what I'm saying? They probably going to do that on their own. But I hate I can't, man. I can't stand the sight of losing to Philly, man, or Washington. Is it going to happen? Probably. But I can't stand the sight of that. So you ain't gonna see me over here rooting to lose. I mean, you'll probably never see me do that unless we're in the last game or two and we are fighting for pick 1 or 2. Then you're like, hey, I gotta root to lose here. But it take a whole lot to get me to that point, bro. A whole lot to get me to that. If I remember correctly, because Cowboys haven't been in that situation in quite some time. I want to say like 2020, we actually had a shot at the playoffs, so I wasn't even really rooting against them there. 2015, when we had the top 5 pick, that might have been the last time where I was like, yeah, let's not win this game. So, not win this game, man. And I don't even know if they beat Washington, but I know Kellen Moore came out and threw for like 400 yards in that game. I can't remember if they won or not. But that's how long ago it is. But I get you. Look, I ain't mad at anybody, Rolo. I get it, bro. Tank mode, I feel you. And if they lose, I ain't gonna be on here pissed. It's just closer to a top pick. But I just can't do it. I can't do it, man. All right, last one here. Reek snuck up in here, man. What's good with you, Reek?
Yeah,
get to some supers.
Hey, what's going on, Sky? Cool, what's good, Cowboy Nation? Yeah, I did sneak up in here though. I ain't gonna hold you. But yeah, I just had to get this up off me, man. They goofy over there in Cowboy land, man. They goofy, man. You gonna spend a top pick for this dude? For what? I don't get it. A fourth round draft pick signed 2 years in a row, back to back like that? Do you see the fourth round draft picks on these other teams that we could have used, like running back? Like Bucky Irvin and all these cats? Allen? I mean, come on. That had to be a Jerry Jones move, man.
No, I can't say that I don't get it because I know what they're trying to do, right? They're clearly trying to take advantage of a talent that they believed in the draft just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and try to flip him into being better than he was at his previous spot, which they've done this again many times over the last decade. So I get what they're trying to do, right? That doesn't mean I agree with it. That doesn't mean that when you really look at this thing from top to bottom, it's a good move. Now that part, the result, if it's going to be a good move or not, will come down to how the kid plays. But it does make you say, yeah, you probably shouldn't have done this if you're going to move on from your coach, or you probably shouldn't have done this if your idea was, well, he's going to be here to help us this year. Well, you could have did something like this earlier. Or, this is a future move. Well, what if the coach doesn't want him? So it's a lot when you look at it and you say, man, this one here probably shouldn't have happened. But if you put yourself in the Cowboys shoes, they make these strange type of Trey Lance, right? Hey, we're going to trade a 4th round pick for Trey Lance, and he's going to be our 3rd string quarterback for 2 years. Huh?
Yeah, and Scott, that's my other thing. It's like, why give them a 4th round? That's too damn high. They should have been trying like 5th or 6th round. I'd have respected that even more.
Yes, I don't even think I had this conversation with a fan. I'm like, I don't even think there's a competent front office that would have traded a 5th round pick for Jonathan Mingo. Straight up. I think think you could have probably got Jonathan Mingo for a 2026 5th, 6th round pick. I just don't really see any front office trading a potentially top 125 pick for Jonathan Mingo in the next year's draft, bro. I can't see that. And I showed you the precedent of previous players in this situation where Laviska Shenault had 1,200 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2 years with the Jaguars. He was traded for a 7th round pick in the following year's 6th round pick. Denzel Mims was traded for a 2025 6th round pick. That was 2 years later from the time he got traded. The only trade you can compare to this, and everybody made fun of it, if y'all remember, which is another reason why you should have looked at this and said no, is when Chase Claypool got traded to the Bears. Now, to be fair, his resume was way better over those first 2 years than either of these two guys. But Chase Claypool got traded for a 2nd round pick, and everybody laughed at the Bears like, what are you doing? Holy overpay. And what happened? It was a terrible trade. Nobody has done anything like that since. And this is probably the next kind of what the hell are you doing with the 2nd round receiver who hasn't been much of anything in the league? What are you doing? This probably follows that Claypool trade.
Well, the only positive thing I've heard from this whole situation is that he trains with CD Lamb's trainer, the one that trains in the offseason with CD Lamb.
Oh yeah, look.
So I'm hoping that
again.
What I'm saying is I'm hoping.
Again, Reed, this isn't about him. I hate this for the kid. He didn't ask to get traded to a dysfunctional organization, a rabid fan base that can see through the BS of the Joneses. He didn't ask that. This isn't even about this kid, man. I hope he continues to progress. and get better in this league. I hope a change of scenery, a better quarterback play. I hope for the best for this kid, right? But he's up against it. He's up against it in so many different ways. Even if he does produce at a wide receiver 3 level, now after next year, the conversation is, are you going to pay him? 9 times out of 10, no. So you basically gave up. You're not going to pay him. And if they do, I'll tell you this right now: if they pay him, it's because he wasn't that productive, but he's a young veteran that's been around the organization, and he's going to look at him as my type of guy because we gave up a pick. Meaning he probably had 300-400 yards. They like what he potentially could be in year 5, 6, and they give him a 2-year, $6 million deal. So now you're paying a guy who hasn't been that great for you. But if he is great for you, now you have to pay him. And look, I hope he's great, but then that brings that brings it all back. Well, if you're only going to rent him for 2 seasons, then what was the point? You could have just drafted a better player in the draft or traded for a better player, you know what I'm saying, in trade department. Oh, by the way, somebody had told me, well, Sky, 6'2", 200-pound, 4'4" wide receivers don't grow on trees. I said, good brother, you got that at the crib. You quite literally have a 6'2", 200-pound, 4'4" receiver that you drafted, who's cheaper and who you hold longer than 2 years. His measurables, when you go look at this is crazy to me. When you look at Jonathan Mingo and all his measurables, height, weight, arm length, speed, broad jump, vertical, dash, out of high bench press, Ryan Flournoy is 85.4% his comparison. Oh, you got him at the crib, fam, and you're not playing him. You got a guy who's not a separator. You got a guy who's not a route runner. You got a guy who's better on the move and not in comebacks and hooks and curls. You got a guy you need to get on the overs. You got a guy who's a contested catch guy. You got a physical wide receiver at the crib. Well, Sky, what's wrong with having more? Nothing's wrong with having more. Here's my worry. They're going to look at this and say, we got Ryan Flournoy. We got, what's my man's name? Jonathan Mingo. We don't need to draft a receiver in the top 3 rounds next year. That's what scares me.
Yeah. Yeah, that scares me too. You're right. I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. Yeah, I agree with that, man. And besides that trade, I'm looking at it like this. Like I think that Trey Lance needs to start, because the reason I say that is because we already got a bad running game. Our running scheme sucks. He gives you a dynamic of passing the ball and running the ball just with his legs alone. Yeah. And I think that let me say this. I gotta give the credit to ball. Go ahead. Go
ahead. My bad.
I was gonna say I need to credit the Boss Cowboy Sports he said it right. He was saying that if you do the same thing that Pittsburgh did with Fields, it might can work for us. Have a leash on him.
Or just do the same thing you did with the guy that you had in your roster a couple years ago when this happened, Cooper Rush. It's the same game plan. You throw the ball 20, 25 times a game. You run the ball a bunch, but you're not good at those, so that's the scary part. But this time you use him in the run game. I will say this. If they do, I have confidence, and because if you go look at the video I dropped yesterday, I talked about, well, if you play one of these 2 guys, here's how you do it. If I don't have confidence that they start Trey Lance and completely change their offense, because they would have to do that, number one. Trey Lance is not a drop back, scan the field, deliver the ball quarterback. Absolutely not. He's read option, zone read, RPO, half field, and then run. That's what so you have to change your offense. Do I have confidence they'll do that? No, but that's what they should do. So here's what they're probably going to do, and I'm not really opposed to this. They should use both. Yeah. They should use both. You use Cooper Rush in the normal drop back game, but make sure you incorporate Trey Lance in packages, okay? Because with these two dudes, you don't have to, I got to get Cooper Rush or Trey in a rhythm. No, you don't. Cooper Rush been around for 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it's been. He knows his offense. He knows how to play the position. So if you're on the third series, second series, it's 2nd and 8, well, go ahead, throw Trey Lance in there to do an RPO, read option, or just quarterback draw or sweep or whatever. That doesn't take much to implement during the week. So as I was thinking about this over the last few days, I would play both of them because Cooper Rush is the better quarterback at throwing the ball between the 20s. He's a smarter quarterback. He's a more experienced guy. But when you get into those situations where you're having struggles in the red zone, right? You're scared to run the ball in fourth and 1, third and 1, you can't do it. That's when you throw in a Trey Lance. If you're in this kind of tempo situation and you got these guys on their heels, next thing you know, now Cooper Rush and Trey Lance is in the ball game, and you got this Taysom Hill situation going. So I will play both of them until Dak came back.
All right, I will say this. This is me. This is what I think. The reason I will play Trey Lance is because I have a better chance with the read option, right? And I feel like you can give this dude easy passes, little tunnel screens, little dump offs, make these guys run after the catch type situations. If nobody's open, he can tuck the ball, haul ass up out of there. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Because I really believe, even though Trey Lance isn't a very accurate quarterback, I think his arm talent is way better than Cooper Rush's. Cooper just has better accuracy.
Of course. I mean, we can do this. We can go back and forth. Cooper Rush is smarter, more accurate. He's the better quarterback. Trey Lance is more athletic, has the better arm. Like both of these guys have things the other guy does not. So, and that's why I think the Cowboys fans are divided on who to start and who to. I would just play Cooper. Or I'm sorry, I would just play Trey Lance if we're talking about, hey, we're not really trying to salvage the season. We try to get a spark with the offense, like from start to finish. Then just play Trey Lance, right? But if they're truly trying to be competitive from start to finish, I think it plays to their strength to play both, because now teams have to prepare for both. And one guy is better at delivering the football more consistently and accurately than the other guy. But the other guy brings a different dimension that guy doesn't. So now you go into the game plans. If all I got to do is prepare for Trey, from a Cowboy fan, it's going to be fun to see him out there running around and just it's going to be all types of plays. It's going to be crazy negative plays, great positive plays and stuff. But with both of these dudes, the opposing team has to say, well, I got to deal with Trey's legs. I also got to deal with whether they're both in the game and it's a trick play or it's not going to Trey. Hell, Trey might catch the damn ball with Cooper Rush throwing it. So I think it benefits them to play both until maybe this thing is completely off the rails and you're like, look, we're just going to roll with Trey because maybe we can get a comp pick out of him or something like that.
Yeah, because I was struggling to say that, like, if Cooper Rush starts this game and we get blown out the water, what do you do?
Hold
like,
on. Let's make this very clear, S.E. Bean. He said in the preseason, y'all said Trey wasn't good. Now y'all want him to play in. Let's make this clear. He ain't. Let's make this very clear. Trey Lance is not a good quarterback. If you're paying attention, if you're listening and you're not letting the context and the quality of this conversation fly over your head, nobody on this thing is saying Trey Lance is some great quarterback. Nobody on this thing is saying we want Trey Lance to be the starting quarterback, for a full season and he's the future and he's a franchise. Nah. What we're saying is your franchise quarterback is down. If you're trying to remain competitive in these games, you can play both of them or you pick one of the two. This ain't got nothing to do with the preseason analysis of Trey Lance. That doesn't change. It's lazy of you to say, oh, now y'all want him to play. Him or Cooper Rush are the only options. They're the only options, my guy.
Yeah. I agree with that too, man. You have like Dak Prescott playing at the MVP level this year.
We tried to off him when the Dolphins had their quarterback injuries. I would have loved to flip Trey Lance for a third round pick over there. But brother, he's here. Put your emotions to the side. You a Cowboy fan. Trey's here. So figure out with the quarterback down how to utilize him. It's that simple. Y'all fans make these things so much more complicated because y'all get caught up in your emotions about a specific player. And it's so damn maddening and annoying and very elementary. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, because the my thing is like this too, is like with Trey Lance out there, you scaring the defensive coordinators of other teams because he has the foot speed of a Lamar. He can get away from you. Like, if you turn your back to him if you want to, he will run about 20 yards on your ass.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like he gives you more of a different option, and he kind of opens up the playbook in a different way if you use him right. I'm not saying you have him drop back every damn snap.
No, we talking in circles now, Reek. Because we were saying the same things for the last 10 minutes. Yeah. There's ways right. You have to utilize Trey Lance that are different from Cooper Rush, no doubt about it. My thing about it is, do I have confidence that they will completely change the playbook for him? I don't. But if he's the starter full time, I hope they do, because you will have to change the playbook, or you will at least have to cut it in half. It's not going to be the same drop back playbook.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But that's what I really wanted to say, Shy.
All right, brother.
But all right, I'll let you in a minute.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right,
salute. It's that simple, man. The man's here. Now the man's going to play. So you figure out ways to utilize him to help your team win. Now, if you're checked out, you're on tank mode, then this conversation doesn't matter. Either one of these dudes are probably not going to win you a bunch of games anyway. But like I said, I'm not there yet. I'm trying to figure out, even though I did drop jokingly the draft emoji or the draft chime sound, whatever, right? That's just, he. And that very well may be the case anyway. But when I sat and I thought about it, I'm like, I think, and this is my opinion, the best way to go about this thing to remain competitive while QB1 is out is to utilize both of them, because they both do things better than the other quarterback. And going into said week, that defensive coordinator is going to have to now prepare for two different things. Easy, Sky. Slant, digs, hitches, and screens. I mean, yeah, that's what we're doing. Let's get to some of these supers, if we have any. This has been one of them ones. Let's see. I might have missed it. Where we at here? No, we got a couple. Well, we got a couple. Eli dropped 2.
Super chat.
Eli said, "Does Mingo pick me? We're not getting a receiver in the draft." Well, Eli, I can't say that for certain, but I'd be lying if I wasn't a little bit worried. It's a little bit. Now, I'd imagine it depends how well Mingo. Like, if Mingo, what are we here? Week 10. We got like 9 games left. Let's say Mingo goes for like 250, a couple tutties. I don't think that's enough for them to be like, yeah, we don't need a receiver. But say Mingo goes for 400 while he's here, 3-4 touchdowns. Very possible. Very possible that they say, nah, we don't need a receiver. We got Mingo. Look what he did in half a season. That's very possible. So, I'm putting a pin in that. I think let's see how this plays out with Mingo, and then I'll tell you, yeah, they very well might pass on a receiver because of how he played. I don't care how unless he goes out there and he's 2018 Amari Cooper post trade, there ain't no way in hell you say, yeah, we're good here. Still them boys drop 5.
Super chat.
Under McCarthy, how many players have we developed offensively? Not going to talk about the old line because I ain't really him. CD Lamb, but that's kind of easy, right? You could argue Dalton Schultz, right? Because they did bring in Lunda Wells. Ferg, I think, is developing. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not like this dude is just chiming out all these top players offensively. It's kind of guys that Dak was already here. And he already had Pro Bowl years and top passing years. I will give Lunda credit, though, for Ferg and Schultz. I don't know if that's McCarthy, but hey, McCarthy's on offense, so that guy. I won't give it TP. I think, but TP did develop under here. Not a gang of dudes. I don't know what the development churn out rate is across the league for coordinators, but not a whole lot. I will say this. Somebody had brought up on Twitter, we were talking about the receiver position and in the draft and whatnot. And outside of CD Lamb, you can argue, you could ask the question, do I trust their scouting with it? You can ask that question, bro. CD Lamb, right? Which fell in your lap. So outside of CD Lamb, said, like drafted guys, said, took Said 3 years, but he eventually got going, right? That's all I can think of. You could say Noah Brown. Noah Brown took like 5 years ago, but Said Noah. So if you say, well, Scott, they could just draft a receiver in the third, fourth, fifth, that hit rate ain't great. They might have to take that dude right now. If you're trying to get a receiver in this draft, if it ain't right now in the first round, it better be right now in the second round. Because how many? It's actually a real good question here. How many receivers have they developed? And under McCarthy, definitely not a whole bunch. But let's just say in the McClay era, really. And outside of CD, because that's the easy button, right? Come on, man, you ain't missing CD. Said for a season, right? Like said for a season. Noah for kind of a season. Noah he might have had the production, but boy, he was a problem. Dropping balls and right. So do we go Noah? Maybe. And y'all tell me, is Said and Noah enough to be like, yeah, I trust them outside of CD Lamb? It's a serious question. Serious question. And if that question makes your head spin and want to drink, well, head on over to Specs, ladies and gentlemen. Specs is your one-stop destination for unbeatable selections of beer, wine, liquor, and finer foods. Whether you're planning that Cowboys watch party or you're just looking for that perfect bottle, Specs has you covered. Great prices, expert advice, and the best brands. You can find it all at Specs. Barring any setback in regards to the weather, we should be back at Canvas Sports and Social. That's right, your boy Jesse Alley and me, Skywalker Still, will be back at Canvas Sports and Social out there on the patio, again, weather permitting, to give you game day live with these damn Eagles. And if I remember correctly, a lot of Eagle fans that was at Canvas earlier in the season. I hope they don't have an Eagle party. I'd be highly disappointed if Cowboy fans let that happen. But either way, come through. If you need a place to watch the game, kick it with us. Good food, good vibes, good energy, good music. It's all there at Canvas. Gallup. Man, that's so tough, man. But I guess you have to kind of count Gallup too, I guess. It's so tough because 2019, right there, bow. He felt good. And after that, just fell flat on our face. He's off to a decent start. Was it 2020, right? 2020. So you're thinking, hey, man, we might have something here. Then it just never materialized. So do you go 2 years of Gallup? Seriously. So Gallup said Noah. 3 receivers, all drafted from 2017 on. So 2017, 2018, no longer with the team. One's retired. The other had one good year and the other had one decent year. Would we consider that hitting? Would we consider that hitting? This is something like, again, when I said that, I was just kind of joking, but then I'm like, wait, how many dudes outside of CeeDee Lamb can you realistically be like, man, that's a great wide receiver pick development, and this dude stuck around to be our slot guy, wide receiver 2 guy, and he was productive like that? How many? Not. That's tough, man. Schultz tight end, so I'm just speaking receivers. I'm curious what y'all think here. I'm hearing, Noah, Gallup. I like said should have kept him. Yeah, I like said too, man. Willie T said the Eagles put up 50, McCarthy gets fired, and Kellen will be the head coach next season. If they put up a 50 burger, even a 40 burger, and it's like a super massive blowout, I don't know how he doesn't escape the Wade Phillips treatment. The only reason why Willie T he may is because remember a couple weeks ago, Jerry said he regretted firing Wade. It was a 1-7 season. It was worse than this. It was 1-7. He said he regretted firing Wade. That on top of does he really want to pay him to sit at the crib? It could be no. But Jerry, he may be feeling pressure. He may be feeling the pressure and he may make a drastic move. But the Kellen Moore head coach thing, I honestly, I know we're bringing up college coaches and we're bringing up Bill Belichick. It's very early. Season ain't over yet. Things can turn around, whatever. But Kellen might be the number one, like, cowboy option. Like, that just, I was thinking about this the other day. There's guys I want, y'all want, we all understand that, and we know how this team moves. Kellen just makes the most cowboy Joneses sense. He is the offensive guy. He was their hand-picked child. They didn't really want him to move on from him. McCarthy did. McCarthy never even wanted him. He forced on him. He wasted 3 years of potentially trying to figure out the offense or whatever. I think Kellen makes the most Cowboys Joneses sense. He's not going to change the culture. He's going to be the yes man. He's not going to push back on the Joneses. All he going to give a damn about is the offense. And my problem with Kellen is as I talk to many of people, and this almost every year I'll bring this back up. I talk to people that were in the locker room with Kellen as a coach, as a player, and around him. They've all said the same thing. Not a smart guy. Has a lot of cool designs and plays. Not a guy I believe can motivate and lead an organization. In fact, when he was on his rounds of head coaching gigs or head coaching interviews a couple years ago, Minnesota put out a report. They hired if I'm not mistaken, a kind of like a leadership council or management council or something like that. And they interviewed Kellen and it was reported that they came back saying they don't think he works well in that capacity. They don't believe he's a guy that can lead men. Maybe that changed over the last 3 years. I don't believe so. But if he's hired, it ain't about leading men. It's about Jerry and Steven being able to have complete and total control. Kellen, you just make sure you get this offense right. So no culture change will be happening. All right, good stuff today. I hope I was able to break down this situation as detailed as possible. Tomorrow we will pick up our regular scheduled program, and we're gonna get at this Eagles game, man. We're going to look at Vic Fangio's defense against the different looking Cowboys offense. It's Cooper Rush, and we'll talk about it tomorrow as the actual quarterback. But Jerry, and again, that's kind of it's a guy in charge. Jerry said, "Oh no. Trey Lance is going to have his opportunities. He's going to be involved, and I believe he should be, even starting this week." So we'll talk about that matchup and why it is not going to be an easy matchup if they don't do something different. Very underrated Philadelphia defense over there, but we'll get at it tomorrow. Might even have some help guest on the show, so y'all stick around for that. I appreciate y'all coming through. It's been a fantastic show, I think. Oh, yeah, somebody said Zeke fighting for BB spot. Speaking of Zeke, another one of those situations where the coach has no say. They suspended him for the things they suspended him for. Jerry said, he's back. Zeke will be available for this game. So this will be very interesting. Very interesting. But let me go ahead and press this button and get up out of here.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Y'all have been great. Make sure y'all keep it locked for tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some help tomorrow. Just depends on who. It'll be a fun one. We out here. Love y'all.